Dear friends, if you are listening to this talk, it means that I'm still traveling, which means that I look forward for being with you in person in a few hours and answer in person to your questions. And feel free meanwhile to send me mails as per the organization possibility of sending you in my mail contacts. This talk is about the evidence-based advancement in venous and lymphatic management in the aquatic environment, because we know that indeed there is a great potential in the spa world. The acronym, according to the ancient Latins, of salus per aquam. And indeed, many funds are involved in this aquatic environment as per the Global Spa and Wellness Summit. But at the same time, we know that we haven't produced that much science in support of that in our veins and lymphatic field. We know empirically there are great potentials, but we didn't do as our colleagues from the rheumatology or the musculoskeletal system field have done. And indeed, if you look at the revision of the literature, we see that basically we produce so far data on the quality of life that is improved in the aquatic environment, in the spa environment. But of course, it doesn't require that much to understand that the quality of life is better if we are in a spa environment rather than at work, for example. But as I was saying, there are so many centers around the world that are promoting these aquatic activities like the cold and hot water without really understanding what's going over there, and even understanding if we really need to go cold and hot or if we just should enjoy the aquatic environment per se. If we go back to the 90s at the time of the cassettes, we see that there were really preliminary data suggesting a potential benefit. You see this STERNS publication that is showing us how the foot volume, for example, and the venous refill time was improved by doing what they call knife activities, which means, again, walking in cold and hot water. If we go further 10 years, we'll see that Carpentier demonstrated in a very elegant crossover study the possibility of improving also the pain control and the lower limb using the aquatic environment. The crossover was doing basically the aquatic exercise inside or outside the spa environment. But at the same time, also in this case, there was no standardization as per the Ernst publication, which means that every single patient was doing some activity that differed from the other in some sort of way. And we know that to move forward in science, we need standardization and we need reproducibility. And we know that in the aquatic environment, we have a great potential because every single centimeter of water basically is a 0.7 millimeter mercury, which means that when we are standing up in the pool, up to our navel with the water, we have around 80 millimeter mercury, which is like 4 pairs of stockings, which gives a great potential to a standardized protocol of exercises like the one we published back in 2017. Basically, we created a protocol of exercises that was done with a rationale to activate all the joints. We investigated first on phlebitic lymphedema patients. You can find this in Phlebology, it's open access, and you can enjoy the results that are showing how by 2 sessions of 50 minutes each per week, after 5 sessions, there was a significant reduction in lower limb volume up to 300 mils. That is quite consistent, I would say, as results, together also with the improvement of the subcutaneous tissue and circumferences around all the leg. Even more, there was an improvement in the ankle range of motions, and that's why you see Michael Jackson over there doing the moonwalk, because indeed we included a backward walking to favor the activation of the calf, as demonstrated by previous publications like the one of Dixie. This range of motions correlated also with the edema control, pointing out the importance of the pump effect of the ankle per se. This was translated clinically in an improvement in the heaviness perceived at the lower limb level by the patient, where there was no improvement in terms of functional ambulation classification, that is a dedicated score dedicated to the measurement of how well somebody is walking, but we could also discuss why this did not really change during the discussion. During the discussion, we should also discuss about the fact that in this previous publication, we didn't really answer to the question of is it the exercise or is it the aquatic environment giving us these benefits? For this, we created a randomized comparative trial doing the standardized protocol inside and outside the aquatic environment, this time in a thermal aquatic environment, because as you can imagine, there are different kinds of water with different kind of salinity and properties. We reproduced the same protocol inside and outside the aquatic environment, and what we demonstrated is that it is indeed the aquatic environment, because the protocol per se outside the pool was not really improving the lower limb volume control. In terms also of calibers of the vessels, in particular of the great saphenous vein measured in the EVC point you can see over there, there was an improvement just inside the aquatic environment and not outside. But also this is not so meaningful in my opinion, because it really depends on where we are going to assess the venous system all around the leg and all around the different compartments. Yeah, there was a control that was better in the group inside the aquatic environment, that was also associated with the previous results of a better control of the subcutaneous thickness that you can see measured over here. So in terms of the ankle range of motion, what we can say is that there was an improvement in both the groups. So the exercise is associated also with an improvement in the ankle range of motions outside the pool, but better if we are inside the pool. In terms of correlation with the lower limb volume, of course, there was an improvement just in the group associated with the aquatic environment, because that was the group that has presented the improvement in edema control. Quality of life. Civic score demonstrated an improvement in both groups, while in reality there was no significant improvement in Vivian CQ in the group outside the pool, while there was an improvement in the group in the pool. This suggests the importance of always having more than one quality of life score to make sure we are picturing the scenario in the proper way. Another publication we did on the topic focused on the extracellular fluid measured by bioimpedance, confirming that in the aquatic environment we have a control of the extracellular fluids that, interestingly enough, correlated once again with the edema control. As in the previous publication, it correlated with the ankle range of motion. Even more, in another publication, we looked at the cardiometabolic impact of this kind of protocol, showcasing that there is an improvement in the heart rate control and also in the blood pressure. All of this has been reported in a document that is now in publication following the global teamwork that involved also many Egyptian friends who I'd like to deeply thank for their effort dedicated to what we should always say in evidence-based way. So also for the aquatic environment, just claims that are supported by proper publication, a vital topic that will be included in the next scientific global teamwork to be developed next May in a very peculiar place in the middle of the water. That is indeed Albarella Island for Italy, May 25-28 in this case, because we will indeed add an extra day dedicated just to the science per aquam project, shifting from salus, as the ancient Latin were saying, to science, evidence-based data per aquam, with a dedicated course where also everybody can be engaged also in the previous day by submitting eventual topic of interest in whatever topic of veins and lymphatic disease management by March 25. So I encourage you to visit the website and become part of the faculty that will discuss together with colleagues from all around the world vital topics we should develop in terms of new research lines and vital literature we all should know. I'd like to conclude also inviting you to visit the UIP webpage, I would say the World Society of Phlebology, where we are waiting for you always with open arms. Thank you.